Hello friends, welcome to my quilt lab. Cynthia here. I am getting ready to do another jelly roll class for a class that I'm teaching, and I had a couple people ask about the beginning of making a jelly roll, and of course it's all there in the instructions, but I thought this would be a cute video because this process is actually the same process you would use to make your binding, so it's kind of really similar. So let me just show you what I do. I got my jelly roll right here. I'm using a lovely Ruby Star fabric line. So let's just take it off. Rid of the rubber band. So a jelly roll is actually a term that Moda came up with to describe 2.5-inch strips. So technically only Moda fabric are jelly rolls. Everything else is just a 2.5-inch strip. But for the sake of ease, we're just going to call it jelly rolls. Here it is. Here's the pretty colors. And I'm keeping everything in line. Of course, you can make your own jelly roll or scraps of 2.5-inch and just, put them in whatever order you want. But let's talk about order. So remember, you want to keep in mind the center of the quilt versus the outside of the quilt. So keep that in an order that you want. It is recommended that you put something darker on the outside of the rug because, well, that's the part that's going to get the most dirt. Not that you have to pay attention to those rules. I'm just throwing that out in case you are interested. But you do want to take some time to think about the order of your jelly roll, and often you can just go with what's in the roll. The only thing I would do different here is I would maybe take these two lighter ones and put it in the center, so that these would be my center colors, and then it would go out to pink, peach, orange, etc., all the way out to that black, and that way my last couple of strips are going to be black, which is nice because that would be what's on the outside, and that would cover up all the dirt. So first step is putting them in an order you want. Second step is making that really long strip, right? And like I said, this process is just like what you would do if you were making your own binding. So let's talk about that. I'm going to grab two of the strips so that you can see. I also have another video on this which I can link below, which is just doing the binding, and this is what I do each and every time I'm going to make binding. I always use a mat because I'm lining that first strip up on the mat horizontally, and then I'm going to take the next strip, and they're going to be same sides together, right? And I'm going to line that up vertically. So let me show you what I'm doing. So there's that line right there that's pasted right there, and here's that other line right there. That way I know it's 90 degrees, right? So everything's going to be nice and square. So you can throw a pin in right now if you want, just to hold it in place. Please notice I have my selvages going beyond each side because you don't want your selvage either in your jelly roll rugs or in your binding, because often with the Ruby Star specifically, it's a big selvage, but often that weave towards the end of the fabric is slightly different. And if you watch my last jelly roll rug video, it's much thicker, which means when you're going through 8 layers of fabric and batting, you could break a needle, which is what I did in that last video. So go and see that mistake, because I like showing mistakes on camera so that you can see them. All right, got it laid out. One's face up, the other one face down. It's kind of this reversed L. And I'm going to take another ruler and I'm going to line it up to make the diagonal. And I'm going to draw a line. I'll make it kind of dark so you can see it. So there's the diagonal. That's what you're going to stitch. Now, if you ever think that you're putting the diagonal in the wrong way, let's say you made the diagonal going this way, guys, just throw a pin in and do a pretend stitch to see which way the fabric is going to fold, because it needs to fold open in a certain way. So the fabric can only fold this way Well, that's not going to make a continuous line, right? Or it'll fold this way, which will be right on top of itself. And again, that's not making that one continuous line. What this diagonal will do, going from top left to bottom right, and let me throw my pins in to act as pretend stitching for the moment, is when that folds open, there's that continuous line. All right, so after I've stitched this, I'm going to cut away all this extra, and I'm actually going to press this open so it's nice and flat. That way I don't have a bulky seam going one way or the other. I'm going to press it open so it's nice and flat. All right, let me go take this to the machine real quick and I'll show you that process. We'll do a little sum up and I will send you on your way. So to the machine. All right, we're back. There's that pretty seam. Let me just turn it over. You can see that I pressed it open just like I said I was going to. I've trimmed away all the fabric. And I just used scissors. I didn't worry about breaking out my ruler or my rotary cutter because it's going to be seen on the back. I just want to make sure I'm getting rid of the bulk of that stuff. So do this another 41 times depending on how many strips are in your rug, and give it a nice press. Make sure you've pressed out any of the creases at the end. I still have one I need to press out because you want to make sure this is nice and flat before you go and add your batting, which is the next step. So you're going to add batting, you're going to fold in to the center and then fold in half and then do your stitch to make your rope. But that's for another time. This is to get you started. So remember, grab your jelly roll, put it in the order you want to see it, make that really long bias binding strip. And once you're finished making your really long 2.5-inch strip, fan fold them back and forth so that you have one side is the inside of the rug. One side will be what will be on the outside of the rug. Tie them off with some scrap pieces of fabric or shoelaces or whatnot, and then you're ready to go to the next step, which will be making the rope. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by my quilt lab. Give me a thumbs up. Hope to see you in a jelly roll rug class, and have a good one, guys. Keep quilting. Bye-bye.